Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Discord meeting. I got the whole crew with me here tonight. Actually, we're missing quite a few of the crew, but we got quite a few new people here tonight. That's A-okay. I mentioned to them, I'll mention to you guys again, if you have any questions, unmute yourself and just ask. But let's just get through this intro first, baby. We got a lot to go over. All right, we are back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got Jimmy Kai, Look at the Flowers, Splicer, Teak God, Yield, Oracle, and Yosef in the building. We're missing quite a few of our lovely ladies. Where's Zamora? Where is Erica? Where is Sweet Jolene? It's A-okay. We got it on recording for you ladies, so there's your shout out just for you, just for you. Guys, as the caption shows, as the thumbnail shows, and as you guys know, we took a big hit in the quantum computing space and many other spaces. And I got an article sent to me in the general chat today in our Discord. And I want to read it verbatim. I want you guys to take a look at my screen. I am sharing my screen right now, and you have it up right here, guys. So you guys can read along with me. But this goes all about everything I was talking about on Sunday. Okay, that's why we like to look at fundamentals. We like to look at leaders. And we like to use the CAN-SLIM method in the How to Make Money in Stocks by William O'Neill. If you do not have this book, you need to get this book. You need to read it, and you need to learn and understand the acronym CAN-SLIM. It's very pinnacle to your trading, just as risk management is. And you guys will stand behind that, because if you don't, you won't be trading for very long. Risk management is key to a successful trading journey. Okay, and I know the new guys, you might not understand it, but the seasoned vets, they're all shaking their heads. Everybody understands. If you've been here for 5 years or 10 years, it's only because of risk management. So make sure you check out my YouTube, check out the risk management portion, and of course, there's plenty of other videos to read there. So quantum computing, nuclear power, cryptocurrency, cannabis, all these heavily shorted stocks all got hammered on Wednesday, putting the brakes on the recent run-up. Retail traders who had developed a taste for gambling and speculative stocks were facing a day of reckoning on Wednesday as many of their favorite trades suffered a startling meltdown. Speaking of which, Wednesday, that's today, and I'm going to show you some of the stocks that took major hits. The carnage began with comments from NVDA Chief Executive Jensen Huang, if I'm saying that right, at the CES Tech Conference. If you guys were with me yesterday, it was an amazing show. It was super, super cool. All the new things that they were coming out with, all their different models that they were coming out with, it really shows that we have an awesome and bright future. But, he talked about quantum computers could still be 20 years away. When all eyes are on the CEO of NVIDIA, one of the leaders in the overall market right now. If you guys didn't know, NVIDIA is right up there with Apple, okay? They're really competing as a trillion-dollar company as who's the biggest in the market right now, okay? So when the CEO says something like this about quantum computing, you're going to see a big hit. Not to mention, the overall S&P 500 has been extremely choppy. Now, we talked about all of this on Sunday in our Sunday's meeting. Now, of course, I didn't know it was going to happen that Wednesday, 3 days later after I talked about this, but I warned all of our investors, everybody in the Discord, and everybody that we know, that these stocks that we're going to go over don't have any fundamentals to back them up. It's all on speculation, okay? And that's why we need to make sure that we're looking at things that have quarterly earnings of 25% or more. And year over year, we want to see at least 25% growth year over year. If not, you're just speculating. You're gambling in a sense. Of course, if you wanted to play these stocks, that's fine. Using technical analysis and risk management, you can get in those hot sectors and you can get in those hot themes, but you need to understand that you're playing with fire. And I've said this many, many times before. You're guys going to hear me say it over and over again until it gets through your head, and I make sure I'm not taking gambling trades, right? So quantum computing stock sinks as NVIDIA CEO delivers a reality check. Both of those stocks were soon down much as 50% on the day. That is RGTI and IONQ. Okay, now I have IONQ up here for you. This was one of the leaders in the quantum computing stocks. We talked about this all the way back here when it was leaving its stage 1 base and entering its stage 2. It had a few areas you could have entered. My beautiful trend breakout right here, you could have entered above a 10-day moving average and breaking out on volume after its earnings, and it held. So it was a beautiful move, and you could have held onto this thing using the 21-day moving average as your stop loss, or the 10 in this case, and you could have easily taken home 103% on this if you would have used my trend break strategy using the 10-day moving average, okay? I did not have a hand in this. I did not like this stock because if you look, the overall fundamentals of the stock showing that it is selling off. It's selling off hard, okay? So that is IONQ. We also have Qubit. We also have, you know, a lot of different stocks. We'll go over it. So they're down over 50% or more, okay? The pressure soon spread to other popular retail crowded stocks like Farzin Azarm, a managing director of Securities of USA. After helping to magnify gains on the way up, the rampant use of leverage by traders appeared to help exacerbate losses on the way down, as it often does. In December, Interactive Brokers Group, or IBKR founder Chairman Thomas, said that the margin loans on his platform had risen 16% over the past 3 months. I'm sorry, more than the previous 3 months. He made remarks during the appearance at the conference hosted by Goldman Sachs. The retail crowd is facing a day of reckoning today, told MarketWatch in an interview. They had been buying into those extremely speculative names, but now that's starting to unwind. Russell Index heavily shorted U.S. stocks, which had otherwise seen its strongest start to a year since the meme stock madness in 2021 dropped more than 5% on Wednesday, according to LSEG data. Aerospace and space exploration stocks went swept up in the selling, with shares of Intuitive Machines, or LUNR, down more than 5%, which we can look at that right here. LUNR. This is just another one of those stocks. It's actually not that bad. It's still actually holding its 10-day moving average. You know, that's a big pullback. You know, don't get me wrong. It's a big pullback. We're pulling back 15%, but with this thing moving, let's just take a little peeky gander. LUNR. With this thing moving 12.8%, that's not too big of a pullback from its highs, okay? So it's still trying to hold above a 10-day moving average, but even with that being said, a 15% pullback is nothing compared to its average daily range. This thing could get right back up to all-time highs. These aren't buy or sell recommendations. What I'm saying is when we look at these overall stocks, you want to see them holding most of the majority of its gains if you're trying to buy these bounces. Now, what I see here is a base breakout and a pullback for a retest. This LUNR is retesting. But with that being said, you need to understand when we look at LUNR, you can see that it is not making any money. Its last estimate was below its, that they were trying to say that they weren't going to gain or lose anything, and they came out with a surprise on a negative 613% fail. They did not meet those expectations. It's not looking good. Okay, so again, this is a speculative stock because it's in aerospace, or because it's in quantum computing, or because it's in any of these futuristic type stocks. They are not earning money. It's all based on speculation and gambling. Also, nuclear power stocks also suffered. Nano Nuclear Technology, or NNE, fell more than 11%. Now, again, I know if we look at NNE, yes, it fell 11%, but again, it's still holding an uptrend. So it didn't take that big of a hit. Yes, we had a sell-off, but if we look at the overall S&P 500, we had a sell-off in the overall S&P 500. Okay, so even when we look at, you know, NNE, or there's a few other ones. SMR, that's right, SMR, thank you. SMR, they're still holding the majority of their push here. Okay, the biggest thing is quantum computing. Qubit, QUBT, this thing took an absolute huge hit. I did call this out and said we are on a trend breakout watch right here. I called it out on this day. I said, watch, this is on watch for a trend breakout. but we did not get a huge amount of volume here, so I did not take it. But if you were to take it, you would have stopped out using risk management. So you were able to protect yourself in this, right? But the issue is overnight, the gap down, right? So you need to be very, very careful with these speculative stocks because guess what? This thing's not making any money. They're starting to drag themselves out of debt, it looks like, but with what? With what? That's something that we would have to look into. I don't think they're making any money. I don't know. I don't think that they're selling anything. Nobody's buying quantum computers or quantum computing chips. They're trying to manufacture them so they actually have a use. Okay. So back to NNE. I just want to touch on this. I still think nuclear energy is the future, and I do think eventually this will do well. It's been a great trader. Matter of fact, if you guys remember, we played this trend breakout. I made well over $3,000 on this push. It was absolutely beautiful and in one of my easiest trades here. Easiest to size up in because it was a newer IPO. Easy to size up in because it was blue skies. Nobody's above here trying to sell into me. And it was an easy trade because it's my beautiful trend break strategy above a 10-day moving average. I absolutely love this trade. Now, the question is, well, there's a bunch of chop going on here. We're seeing a cup. Will it hold this gain? Will it continue higher? We need to wait to find out because the S&P 500 is not looking that hot. We're below all these moving averages, and we'll get to that in just a second. So the trading volume in the U.S. equity market exploded earlier this week as NASDAQ composite trading volume rose nearly 14 billion shares on Tuesday, the highest level on record going back to 1995, according to Dow Jones market data. The market wasn't as active on Wednesday. According to data tracked by Arzum, roughly 55% of activity in the U.S. market over the past 2 weeks has been tied to platforms typically used by individual investors. This is massive. Even during the 2021 melt-up, we hardly saw anything this elevated, he said, referring to the meme stock frenzy that saw shares of GameStop or GME and AMC soar in early 2021. Some of the recent surge in trading volume across the U.S. market appeared to be tied to penny stocks. Partner and co-founder Joe Saluzzi, I like that name, Saluzzi, of Themis Trading told MarketWatch, volume and shares of companies trading at $1 or less have been unusually high lately. Quantum computing stocks, heavily shorted names, and other popular speculative bets have soared since the election as President-elect Donald Trump's victory appeared to unleash animal spirits. Yeah, that's what he said. It unleashed animal spirits in the equity market. Let me just continue to read here. Recent froth in markets hasn't been limited to stocks. It's also been evident in the cryptocurrency market. If you guys aren't aware of it, cryptocurrency has been rip, tater, chip into the north side as well. I was following very, very closely that $100,000 move. We were playing a lot of cryptocurrency related stocks in order to get it to 100,000, and I sold out right at 100,000. Why? Because that is a very key area. Everybody's watching 100,000, and when it broke out above 100,000, that was your fake breakout there, and it came right back down into it. And we can go over more Bitcoin related stocks in a few minutes. But Bitcoin rising north of 100,000, while the market capitalization of Fartcoin and popular meme token risen surpassed 1 billion, making it worth more than some publicly traded companies. Shares of heavily shorted companies like him and hers, Seals, SQ Corp, LAES, and ENVX soared late last year, but they ran into trouble this week. There has been a massive speculation bid in the market that is keeping these heavily shorted stocks elevated in the business. We call them profitless junk stocks. The sell-off of these speculative names coincide with the weakness in the broader market, just as I was talking to you earlier about the S&P 500. So with all of this speculation, folks, with all of these new retail traders and the institutional ownerships actually seeing this happen, we're getting a huge influx of volatility, and you can see it in the overall S&P 500. You can see it right here. I put a little meme out earlier today about it being choppy. It's just chopping around. I'll just show you on the screen here. We posted this right here, chop, chop, chop. That's the SPY. It's just chopping around. It's not something you want to be a part of if you are a trader who does well in a bull market. I am a swing trader primarily looking for trend and base breakouts to catch momentum leaders in the market. And guess what happens when they lose their momentum, meaning they close below a 10 or 21-day moving average? I sell the stock. I'm not married to any one stock. I don't give a shit about the stock unless it's making me money. If I start to lose money, guess what? Don't like that stock anymore. Okay. Of course, we use risk management, so I don't just sell out because I think it's going to go down. No. If I'm getting in something and it's a trender-based breakout, I have very key rules that are set up. And of course, if you guys want to learn that, you either stick around or you become a member on my YouTube. I also do mentor programs. I keep it real simple. If you guys want to get caught up on technical analysis and my version of the Can Slim method, you're more than welcome to sign up for that. I got a link in the description down below, and anybody in the Discord right now, just reach out to me, just message me. I'm more than happy to help everybody. And Jimmy knows, we have a lot of OGs in here. Yosef knows. I'm not about taking people's money. I literally have been pushed to the point so I can actually do this. Like, everybody's like, you need to do this, Dave. You need to do this. So this is the next step. If you're interested, you're more than welcome to check the link in the description down below or just reach out to me if you want a private mentor. What's up, Bin? It's good to see you guys. Now, before I carry on with the overall state of the market, and I'm going to go through the leaders as well to see how things are holding up as the market's pulling back. Do we have any questions? Any questions whatsoever? I don't want anybody to feel left out here. That's why we have these Discord meetings.
Is it possible that the penny stocks, like the quantum computing stocks that you're talking about, they end up after a while, since they're so down, after a while the hype picks back up, the volume picks back up, and they just go back up to where they're at, where they were at, rather?
Sure. So that's a really good question, and I'm glad you asked that. Thank you. So there's a few things here. One, I have to say flat out, because I'm not going to act like some guru. Anybody that tells you that they know for sure, you need to get rid of them. You need to delete those people out of your life. The first thing I have to tell you is I do not know for absolute certain. But with my experience in the market, when you see something like this happen, it will probably head back up and then get sold off into. And here's why. If you look at my screen here, which, by the way, this is a beautiful trend breakout. I even drew this out actually when this popped up. It made a trend, it popped back up, and then when it was here this day, I actually drew this out and said, this is what I would want to see before it breaks out. And this thing did, it broke out. Now watch this. This thing breaks out on higher volume. So if you don't know what volume is how many shares are being traded. The higher the volume, the more shares are being traded, the more interest is in the stock. This thing really pushed up. It got a lot of people interested, including myself, especially because I missed the first trend breakout. Usually trend breakouts will have 2 to 3 legs up before they fail. Well, we had 1, 2, 3 legs up. I was watching for this trend breakout, and on, I think that was Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, that was Monday. I called a trend breakout watch. I said, keep an eye on this. It looks like it's breaking out, but because of where the market was at the time, it was a little iffy to be taking any trades. So to answer your question, will this get back up to where it was? I would say it might come up here, but it's going to get sold off very heavily in this area. And I can almost pinpoint here, QUBT, I can almost pinpoint where it's going to come up to. I'm very, very good at this. I used to be a short trader myself. I got away from it though. But right here, $22, okay? I have it marked out on my charts. And why do I have it marked out here? Because this right here is VWAP, or the volume weighted average price that the majority of people played. So most of your bag holders are sitting here at $22. This is the highest area of volume traded. Let me blow this up so you guys can see this. This is the highest area of volume traded. This thing really pushed up. The average volume that was traded in this price area of $22, okay? And you can see it popped up here once and sold off, right? And then it got tighter, which is fine. That's normal. Because what we want to see for this thing to take off is higher volume and it to break through this area to continue higher. And that would form that trend break pattern that I love so much, okay? It would break through here on higher volume, showing that there is going to be more volume to push this through and head higher. Now, if this thing right here pops back up into this area, we know that this $22 area right here has an extreme amount of people holding it, okay? So if there's a ton of people holding this stock in that area, what do you think their first reaction is going to be when that area, it gets back up into that area? Right now, if
To
they
sell it.
bought, go ahead. What's that?
They're gonna sell it, right?
They're going to sell the shit out of that stock,
Yep.
100%. So if Qubit pops back up here, I'm going to be looking to short the stock because not only are people going to be selling into this stock when it gets back up to $22, but there's people like myself and other people. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't primarily short. I'm just kind of talking here. When this pops back up there, there's going to be people watching this like myself and now you guys for it to get up to 22 to short the stock. And so now you're going to have not only people shorting the stock, but you're also going to have traders and institutional ownership short selling the stock, which is going to push it down even farther and even faster. So I want you guys to quote me here, okay? Because this is a garbage stock. You can tell by its quarterly earnings that it is going further and further into debt. Annually, further and further in the debt. They're almost $30 million in debt, okay? Again this year. They were $30 million last year. They're $30 million this year. It's a disgusting garbage stock. Now, will this be worth millions in the future? I have no idea. But from what I have seen with the speculative history with, let's just say EVs, we get these huge pushes up, this huge euphoric excitement in a hot sector. They get sold off into, and then when they pop back up, they continually get sold off. And then they pop back up and they continually get sold off. My perfect example is going to be Tilray, T-L-R-Y. So everybody always constantly asked me about Tilray. And I'm just going to put this on the weekly time frame so we really can get an understanding of what we're working with here, guys. I'm just going to zoom out. This is what happens, and I've been watching Tilray for a long time because people, when this thing came out, pot stocks were so popular. And it failed, right? And look, every time this thing would pop back up, let's just go right back here. Every time this would pop back up, look, it comes right up into its VWAP area, it sells off. It pops back up into this VWAP area, it sells off. And every single time that this would get a pop, it would sell off. Now, I'm not saying this is going to be the exact same thing, but if we look at this stock, you can see this is the start of a Tilray. You get a big pop, a sell-off, big pop, sell-off, Now look, we get another big pop, another sell-off. And this is after splits. So all this extra volume coming in here, it's pushing it up higher, but I have a great feeling just from experience that this is going to pop up and it's going to sell right back off. And it's not going to be pretty. You're going to get more bag holders in here. And it's, this is what I'm trying to protect people with, okay? Same thing with IONQ. You're going to see that same movement with IONQ. It's absolutely horrible to see because this was really the leader in quantum computing. It held very well. It had a very nice, and my financial advisor actually wanted me to get into this stock all the way back here. He wanted me to get into the stock when it was below a 200-day moving average. And I told the guy, I said, no, I can't get into this. It's below a 200-day moving average. And then he had the audacity to kind of give me a little chuckle and say, hey, that IONQ, Dave? Look at it now. And I said, well, yeah, I understand, but where you wanted me to get in, you wanted me to hold on to a 50% loss before it gained 355%. So it's one of those things that it doesn't matter who you are. You're a person, you're going to see these big moves, you're going to get excited about them, But if you don't use risk management, you're going to get hurt. And if you're asking, will this go back up, just to finalize that question? I know I rant, brother. I rant. Yes, I think it might pop back up, but I think it's going to get sold off into hard, and it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty at all, especially this IONQ. This thing got sold off so hard, so fast. There's more volume in this bar than ever has been traded before. So it's just not looking good. Not looking good at all. Do we have any more questions or any other questions before we carry on?
Um, on the Robinhood, few days ago, Carlos interpreted the Roaring Kitties picture,
Mhm.
and he's thinking the cannabis will be passed through the Congress. So, what's your opinion on that?
So I don't think I fully understand what you're saying. I do understand Carlos posted something about Roaring Kitty and all, what are they? What about Canada? I'm sorry.
So
No,
no,
about
what it
cannabis, about the weed.
what it
Oh,
is
oh, sure,
Roaring Kitty posted a photo of a Time magazine cover, and it was a cryptic message. So they supposedly deciphered it, and it has on the play menu of the video, it says 19420 for the time.
sure.
So they're speculating that on January 9th, the feds are going to legalize weed, and that'll make the hype for the stocks on those go extremely high. He
Okay.
just wanted to know what you thought about that. I think it's more of a buy on rumor, sell on news type thing.
Sure, and it might be a buy on rumor, sell on news. I'm going to give you my very very clear take on this. Okay, I'm going to tell you exactly what I think, and I don't want anybody to get. If you have a biasy, I want you to clear your mind of any ego or any biasy. I'm going to tell you what I think, and it's just what I think. Okay, I think it's all bullshit. Okay, I really do. All that roaring kitty stuff, it's all bullshit. If you want to play the technical analysis, you can. But if you're going to play these on a fundamental basis, it's garbage. These are garbage stocks that they're doing, okay? What they're trying to do is get the masses to buy into a stock so they can sell off into it. That's what these people do. That's exactly what Roaring Kitty does, okay? I don't think he's anybody's friend. He is out to make money. And if he's sending out these cryptic, encoded messages and stuff, he's either A, trying to stay relevant, or B, trying to sell off into anybody buying the stocks that he's trying to get into, okay? What I would very, very clearly love anybody out there listening and you guys in the Discord right now, stay away from that shit. I want you to learn risk management first and foremost and technical analysis second, okay? Risk management, technical analysis, and only trust your damn judgment. If you're going to try and buy into these cryptic messages, if you're going to try and speculate through somebody else's mindset, you're doing yourself a disservice. If you want to be a real trader, you need to do your own speculation, your own deep diving, and your own digging. And it might seem just vastly like overwhelming, but that's why I have this Discord, guys. So that way we can ask these questions, so we can get on the right track, so that way we can get focused on what should be done. Now, I love Carlos. Carlos is a great guy. He does try to help people, but he has a different type of trading. His type of trading, he likes options. He likes very speculative trades. Me, I follow a very strict process. The only reason that I deter from that process is my own discipline. Okay? And I teach this process. I teach this every single day, and I have many, many people in this Discord that will vouch for me, which is kind of funny because we only have two of the OGs in here. Zamora, I gave you a shout out. I'm glad to see that you're in here. Jimmy, Yosef. Unfortunately, B. Stewie had some family issues to take care of. And I don't know what's going on with Dan Bob, but I hope he's okay. He's usually always here. But guys, we have some OGs in here. They will all tell you the same thing, okay? If you stick to the process, you stick to a plan, and you stay focused, and Carlos will even say this himself, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? He always says that.
Right,
And that's the
right.
truth. So we need to have a process. And a process, I can bring it up. I can show you a process. And I went over the 5-minute opening range break, or the 5-minute trend break strategy before. But here's my Evernote. I don't sugarcoat. I don't hide anything from you guys. I have a 5-minute trend break strategy. I have a daily strategy. But here, like, this is what a process looks like, guys. 5-minute, I have the trend break strategy, the buy rules, all in the 5-minute time frame. 3 higher lows, 3 lower highs, above VWAP, above 10-day moving average. Big volume in pre-market to start the day. Should have some type of catalyst, earnings, FDA approval, news that makes it more relevant. My risk, only 1% of my account at max. Meaning if I have $1,000, the most, I'm sorry, if I have $100, the most I'm going to risk is $1. Okay? 1% of your account. And if you don't understand how to calculate risk, I can show you how to do that. Okay? You must use the previous higher low as your stop loss. And here's some examples, guys. I have just a bunch of screenshots, a bunch of examples, and this is just one of my many, many strategies. And there's reasons for this, because if we don't do this, if we don't follow these strategies, then you are just taking random trades. We cannot just have random trades. Absolutely not. You need to have very specific, precise trades so that way if something goes wrong, you can fix it. But if you're just getting in because of Roaring Kitty's speculation and a cryptic message, then how does that relate to your next trade? It doesn't. It cannot. There's not going to be another cryptic thing that you can follow that's going to line up just the same way as the last trade was. So I hope that helps. I really hope that helps, and I really hope you take a little bit from it. It might seem overwhelming to you guys, but I promise you, you're in the right spot. I'm not here to take from you or steal from you. I'm only here to educate you, educate myself. I'm learning every day. Steel sharpens steel. The more questions you ask, and the more I have to explain it, the more it's embedded in my brain. And if I don't understand it, then I'm going to look deeper into it. Okay, if it poses good to my process. Okay, and guys, the best in the basin trend breakouts. This is my bread and butter. Just a ton of examples. And one that happened while we're in a bad market is WGS. We called this out on Sunday. A beautiful trend break on the daily time frame. You get in when it breaks out on higher volume here, and you hold, right? We just didn't take it because the S&P 500 was below a 50-day moving average. Okay. Do we have any other questions, guys? Or do you have anything that you want to add to that, the Roaring Kitty, or maybe your thoughts or anything like that?
No, I did have a question. The buy on rumor, sell on news type thing. Can you safely get in and out, just riding the volume wave there with these moving averages? Because you stated they're garbage stocks. They're pretty much a scam. But could you still make money off of them safely
100%.
with your risk management? Because there's a lot of steel companies right now that are doing really good, and some of them are actually not even trash steel companies. Like I think it was U.S. Steel, and then there was another one. There's a few steel companies. I know a couple of them are trash, couple of them are not. They pay dividends and stuff like that. But there's a article that came out saying that there was some sort of deal that Biden rejected with Japan.
Yep.
So I've been buying into the steel stocks, and I've been stacking and buying the dips. Is that worth it because of the hype? Is that going to go back down after? I know news affects these stocks. So I'm just wondering what's your thoughts on the U.S. Steel and any of the steel stocks.
That's another great question. I really appreciate you asking these, and these are tough questions too. And the reason why I say that is because you're playing the buy the dip, right? And when you play the buy the dip scenario, what happens when the dip keeps on dipping? That's my issue. That's why I like trend and base breakouts, because I know where I get in, I'm expecting it to continue to go higher now. And if it doesn't, I have an immediate stop loss. Now, I take a lot of stops. I stop out a lot. But when I do catch those winners, they run and they run and they run. And that's where I make the majority of my money. So when you're asking about these steel stocks, you're looking into more macroeconomics is what you're doing. And you're more of a long-term trader, when you're doing that. Because if you're going to play macroeconomics, where if A happens to B, then C could possibly happen, then you're buying into stocks that could possibly go higher, but you don't know. You're kind of just holding and you're hoping, right? So I don't play the buy the dip. I play the trend breaks and the base breaks because I'm a momentum trader. It needs to be heading higher. So could it? Absolutely. The first thing I would say is the market trending higher? Are you in a safe because most stocks are going to rise with the overall market, okay? Most stocks are going to rise with the market. So as long as the market is heading higher, which I was going to go over, we are creating still new higher lows here. And as long as it holds that 580 area, we are still heading higher. But because we're below this 50-day moving average, I'm not going to buy anything. I'm not going to buy steel. I'm not going to buy meme stocks. I'm not going to buy quantum computing stocks. I'm not buying nothing because there's no momentum in the market right now. Okay. But what I would say is if you're looking at these stocks, which way is the trend on the daily time frame? Can you clearly see that it's trending higher or is it trending lower? If it's trending lower, you need to understand trend is your friend. You're not going to ever be able to pick the bottom. You're not going to ever be able to sell at the top. So you got to find the trend and you got to get in an area that's holding trend. Okay. So does that help answer your question? When it comes to macroeconomics, I don't get into it. That's too much. I keep it as simple as I possibly can. I focus specifically on the technical analysis. And if I find it that it is in a hot sector or in a hot theme and the overall market is heading higher, then I'm looking for an area to get in, capitalize, and get the hell out. All right? Does that help at all? I really hope it does.
Yeah, no, that does help. It's just it's hard to say, like, okay, well, it's not below 580 or the amount that you said on the
Sure.
overall market. It's hard to be able to know when to say, hey, when do you buy in? When do you sell? Those are the important things I think for a beginner trader. And so, is there some sort of alert or
Sure.
some sort of a way to keep track of when that happens and how that happens?
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude, I really appreciate you being in here. You're asking all the right questions. So you're right. The main thing is buying and selling, right? It's not. It's risk management. It's risk management. If you take anything from this meeting tonight, it needs to be risk management. And the reason for that is you can pick 10 stocks, any 10 random stocks. And you can say, this stock, I think it's going to go up on these 10 stocks. As long as you get in and the stock goes up, you're going to make money, right? You need to find key areas of support and resistance to sell those stocks and to buy those stocks. Okay. With that being said, can you give me one of your steel names? Maybe it might be easier if I give you a visual here.
Yeah,
Okay.
one of them's U.S. Steel. It's just called U.S. Steel.
Okay. Well, if I type in U.S. Steel, it's just not going to come up.
Yeah, I gotta bring it up. Hold on, let me bring it up. I
Yeah,
got
take your
two of
time.
them, and actually, when I bought them, I got them really low because the market had dipped, and I got an oil one too, and they're always green for over a month. They've just always been positive,
Sure.
and so I'm really liking it, and they pay dividends. But the ticker is just X. That's just simply X. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And then
I know this one. Yeah, I should have knew it was X. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to give you my technical analysis on steel, okay? And the very first thing I see is it's below a 200-day moving average, okay? That's a big no-no. I have a big joke saying, my grandma always tells me not to mess with the stocks below a 200-day moving average. Well, it's actually William O'Neill, because the thing is if we look at a 200-day moving average, this clearly shows that there's not a lot of interest in it, okay? Now, you might be a buy the dip buyer, and you might look at this thing, and you might zoom out, and you might say, well, hey, I see some support here, right? There's some support here, okay? But the issue is it going to be supported, and for how long, okay? So what I see, the very first thing I see is resistance right here, okay? I consider this resistance. Why? Because one, it's an area that's touched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. Okay. We don't look at this and we don't say 42.42. We would look at this as an area and we would look at it. Let me see if I can find the right marking here. Can I do a square? Where the hell are the squares? Here we go. It would be an area like this, okay? I would consider this the danger zone, okay? And why would I say that? Because every time, so this thing sold off. It sold off hard. It popped back up and it hit this $42, $43 area. It sold off. It came back up here and hit that same area and sold off, but it even made a new lower low. It didn't hold this area. It did not hold this area as support. So it went lower. Then when it finally came back up and hit this same $43 area again, it sold off again. The only good news I see is it has not broke its previous low. So that's one good sign, but that's only one new higher low. I need to see 3 new higher lows. So here's your first low. Here's your first new higher low. And if I were to look at something like this, which I wouldn't, and I'll explain to you why in just a minute, but I would want to see this stock do this. I would want to see it come back up, hit this area again, come back down, create a new higher low here. That's 3 new higher lows. And now I am watching this stock for a base breakout at 43. Now it comes back up. It gets tighter and tighter here. Let me move this camera over for you. It's getting tighter and tighter. It's creating a tighter range here. And then it breaks this area. And when it breaks this area, this spot right here would be the area I would be watching for higher volume. And if it broke out on higher volume, I would take that trade risking the previous low. So probably 39.58. Now my risk reward is huge because I am going to exit half of this trade at all-time highs or all-time recent highs, which would be 50.20. So then if we calculate this on a long position, let's say we enter here and our stop loss is this previous low right here. And our first target, our first sell-off target is here, okay? That gives us a risk-reward ratio of 4.23, meaning I'm risking 1 R to gain 4 R. Your R is what you calculate it to be. Say you're risking $100 on this trade, you're gonna gain over $423 on the first half. So I would sell at this first half, and then I'm using a 10-day moving average to sell that last half. So that way I can continue with the momentum and hope that it goes higher. So that right there is what I would be looking for US Steel, okay? Now, I won't play US Steel for a very specific reason. Two very specific reasons. So if we look up X, well, actually, my first reason, I'm going to take that back. It moves 6.1% in a day. So it's a fast mover. So I take that back. I would play X, okay? I would play it because it does move fast enough, okay? But it is not a leader in the market. That's why I won't touch X. It's not a leader. When we look at leaders, we want to look at stuff like NVIDIA, Tesla. Tesla's a current leader. It wasn't a leader for a very long time. VST. VST is a leader in the market. Microsoft was a leader, but now because it's below a 50-day moving average and a 200, it's no longer a leader, okay? MSTR, we played this and made a ton of money because it was a leader in the market. Currently, it's not leading. It's not leading in the market. It's below a 50-day moving average, okay? So I had eyes on this thing at this base breakout right here and this trend breakout right here, and I played this trend breakout right here, okay? Because it was a leader in a hot sector, which was Bitcoin, and I noticed from keeping an eye on it that it broke away. It broke away from Bitcoin and it started to do its own thing, which gets me excited. So we actually capitalized on all of this, and I told everybody in Discord, be careful, it looks like it is going parabolic. And I sold 90% of my shares up here, and then in pre-market the next day, I sold out at the open, and this thing tanked, okay? So with that being said, if you're looking at something like X, you need to have a reason to buy this, not just because Biden did this or this said that, because macroeconomics, this play, this play could be completely kiboshed once Trump gets in office and he starts creating tariffs, right? Or this could be completely kiboshed if the bid doesn't go through, or if something changes, or for example, when these things get set in place, there's usually a 6-month whiplash. Nobody feels it for 6 months. So when you play macroeconomics, you have to understand that there's very long implications. Sometimes they can be right away, don't get me wrong. But what I like to see is first the technicals line up. If the technicals line up, then I like it. I'm looking at it. Then I'm asking, is it in a hot sector or a hot theme? If it is, then that gives me another reason. Then I'm going to look at the fundamentals and I'm going to say, is this thing making money 25% quarter over quarter and year over year? Now it's turning into a 5-star setup if it meets all that criteria. Okay. Now I'm not saying I need all that criteria to do this, but I'm saying that all helps with my risk management and understanding how much I actually want to risk in this. How's that? How's that answer for you? I know it's long-winded, but I'm doing my absolute best to kind of get you to wrap your head around why I just don't buy pullbacks. I buy
Yeah, no,
trend.
I learned about three. I learned three different things from you today. They're just watching this, so I think that the answer was great. I think the main issue with beginning in invest or people that are beginning in this is that a lot of these stocks, you say are leaders. The price is just way too high for anybody
I got you for
to
that.
say. So is there a list of like stocks that are
I
under like
got you.
$100, under $50?
I got you, brother. So check this out. If you go to our resource page in our Discord and you scroll down here and you click on resource, and you scroll down or scroll up here, we actually have a list for you. So when we look at leaders like, let's say Microsoft or Meta's a leader right now, you don't have to play Meta. Meta's too expensive. We could play METU. Okay. So if we look at Meta, you'll see Meta is trading at $610. Who can afford that? METU? Guess what? This thing's trading at $36. You want it even cheaper? There's other stocks out there. So when we have these out here for you, Broadcom, AVGO, we're going to play AVL or AVGX. It's way cheaper, okay? SMCI, SMCX, Tesla. We don't play Tesla. We play TSLL, okay? TSLL is trading at $25.98, you know? Surely you can afford a few shares of that, you know? And then there's Tesla, where instead of paying 25, you could pay 394. So we do have ways around it, and that's how we do that. AVL for Broadcom. And this is all in our resource section, you know. So Broadcom, you can buy it right now at $33.88 on a 2x leverage, when if you actually tried to buy Broadcom right now, it's $229, okay? So there is ways around that. And there are some stocks that are trading for a little bit cheaper, like Rocket Lab. When we first started watching Rocket Lab, I know the Discord was just going nuts. We had 2 trend breakout strategies on this, and you could have bought it as low as $6.32. But you have to be patient. You have to wait for these things, right? Because if you're, you know, and trust me, I know how hard it is to be patient. It's so hard to be patient. Right now, you know, of course I want to trade. I'm a trader. I want to take trades, right? I want to wake up in the morning and check my account. But right now, the only thing I can do is manage the ones that I've already been in and wait for proper setups in a healthy market. Okay? Does that help answer your question? Because yes, we do want to follow the leaders, and yes, you do want to get the best prices for those leaders. That's why we use different tickers that follow those leaders. So Tesla, for just to go back to it, Tesla is expensive. But this breakout, I called out in the Discord. I told everybody. Now, again, I don't want anybody thinking I'm an alert service. I don't say, hey, buy this. I say, hey, this 360 area in Tesla is a base breakout setting up. There was a lot of us that played this. And there was a lot of you out there, I won't say any names, that sold off early because you did not trade using the 10-day moving average. There was a lot of people that sold off on this first pullback, and some people sold out some here in this second pullback. I held on to this thing and I sold about half of my shares somewhere in this area around that $400 area because it's a psychological area. That $400 is psychological, and you can see we did have a pullback then. But I sold about half of my shares there, and I held on to that last half until we closed below it at 423. So I actually made off of this 20%, but I used TSLL because I can buy way more shares of this. You know, even though I have over $100,000 of buying power, I'm not going to waste it on buying Tesla. Hell no, I'm not going to waste that kind of buying power on Tesla. No freaking way. That's dumb. When I can play TSLL, it moves twice as fast as Tesla, and I get it for a very, very small fraction of the price. Does that help with your question?
Yeah, that's perfect. I was already aware of the ETFs. Do you have like a list of the base breakout price, current base breakout prices to look out for?
Okay, so currently what we do is every Sunday we have a live YouTube. Okay, and you can go back and watch the most recent live YouTube, so you get kind of an understanding of it. Are you subscribed to me on YouTube by any chance?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
yes.
thank you for being a subscriber. I appreciate that. And I recommend anybody, if you're not subscribed to me on YouTube, we have an amazing community. Okay, we all look out for each other. And if you follow that YouTube, we are all looking, or I'm trying to make sure everybody is looking at these leaders. And yes, I send you a ticker scanner so you can train your eye to find these trend and base breakouts. You'll see a lot of people posting them. You'll see me going over them, just like I am here, you know, like this Tesla, TSLL. I'm trying to train your eye. Right here is a base breakout, right? And this is a base breakout over 3 weeks. Tesla, back in the day, my favorite one to show is a 6-month breakout at 500. So I don't know if you guys remember the base breakout at 500, but it was, I'm sorry, NVIDIA. I'm sorry, guys. NVIDIA, the 500 base breakout right here. I mean, it's way back here. I told everybody, family, friends, everything, this 500, this is a 6-month base. The bigger the base, the bigger the move. So we want to keep a closer eye on these things. Now it says 50, but that was after the reverse or the split that it had. This, I'm always going to call it 500, but now it's called 50, the 50 base breakout area. So yes, I do give you a list. We update that list every Sunday, and then every Wednesday, 2 days later, we have a meeting here about what's going on in the market. That's what you're doing here today. And then every Friday, I release a list that you can go through, and it's all of the best stock, not all the best stocks out there, but it's a scanner that it's got about 300 or 400 stocks in it. So you have to do your homework, and I do this every single day anyway. So if you don't, I still pull out all the best stocks and I go over everything with you guys on Sunday. Okay, so that way, because the market's constantly changing. What Qubit did yesterday is not what it's doing today. So it was on a base breakout on Monday, or a trend breakout watch on Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday, we don't want to look at this thing anymore. We're not in it because it didn't break. It did not carry on. It did not carry on Wayward Sun, and it did not do it on proper volume. So we stayed hands off. We didn't play this thing, right? We would have been stopped out, actually. If you would have played this base breakout using this low of day, you would have stopped out that same day, and you would have been out of this safely. Okay? So yes, we do give you a list of trend and base breakouts. It's every Sunday, and then we refresh every Wednesday, and then we get, we talk and chat in the Discord to make sure everybody's kind of aware. And you can throw some tickers out there in the Discord, and we have people in here that will be happy to go over them with you until you train your eye, and then you're going to help other people out in the future once you get your stripes. You know what I mean? So does that help you?
Yeah, that was perfect. That was great,
Perfect.
actually. So yeah.
And one thing I do want to mention, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe button. I do have a membership program. If you want to learn more, if you want to have a one-on-one session with me, I charge $100 for an hour, and I promise you I make it worth your time, okay? It took me a long time to get to this point. I've been helping people out for 3-4 years now for free. I would like to make this my full-time job. That's the only reason why I'm doing that. I am not a scammer. I am the opposite of that. I'm really trying to help save people from the shit penny stock trading realm that people are stuck in. You do not have to trade penny stocks. You can trade just a few healthy stocks and hold on to those momentum leaders for a period of time using my trend-based breakout strategy. I'm going to call it a template because you're going to create your own way of trading. B. Stewie is a beautiful one. He uses my trend-based breakout following the momentum leaders, but he likes to use anchored VWAP. He likes to take anchored VWAP. Here's an anchored VWAP strategy. You take anchored VWAP, you grab it from the top, and look. Right here, you would have seen this breakout right here, or he plays the Stewie bounces off these lows, and you could play it off of this, right? So there's so many different ways of actually playing that you're going to create your own way, what's comfortable for you, because you are going to be a profitable trader on your own. You don't need an alert service. You don't need anybody. You just need to get caught up. You just need to understand technical analysis, the canceling method, and just the fundamentals of trading. So if anybody is interested in that, just reach out to me. Check the description down below. Reach out to me in our Discord. Just whatever you guys do, since most of you are new in here, I will never, ever private message you. I will never private message you. I will never send you a friend request. There's a ton of scammers in Discord, okay? So please, if you guys hear me out. I will not reach out to you. You're more than welcome to reach out to me. That's fine. But I want you to do it in general chat where everybody can see it, okay? Because I will not reach out to you. There's just too many people out there. We're gonna have to end on that, guys. This is going on for about an hour, but I do want to say this: the market is closed tomorrow for former U.S. President Jimmy Carter. He passed away December 29th of 2024 at age 100. And I just want to read a quick passage, guys, because he was absolutely amazing. He was the 39th president of the United States, serving from 1977 to 1981, and was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002 for his efforts in promoting peace and human rights. I'm not going to go on about everything he did, guys, but his Nobel Peace Prize and his human rights, his service that he did for not just the United States, but all over the globe, almost diminishes the fact that he was a president. He's almost just known. I'm getting goosebumps talking about this guy. So I want everybody to understand that there's a reason why we're closed tomorrow, and that is because Jimmy Carter passed away, a former president. He was absolutely amazing. He made a huge impact on so many damn lives, and he really is a hero, and I really am just trying to do that same thing in the trading realm. I really want to protect people, keep people from losing money, help people understand. So we don't have, the market will not be open tomorrow due to Jimmy Carter's passing away on December 29th. So I hope everybody learned a little something from tonight. I hope everybody can stand back and understand the risk management portion of this. And I will post the risk management in the general chat so you guys can go and watch that. And of course, if you guys want some extra mentorship to get caught up on either risk management, trend and based breakout strategies, or anything like that, just reach out to me in the general chat. We can set up a mentorship program. But thank you guys. I hope you guys have an awesome night. And we'll talk to you guys really soon, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Kai. Take care, guys.
All right.
Night, Dave.
Take care, brother.